really dear friends who are here picking up all the slack because I didn't quite get everything done. You know, trying to complete this pyramid for the party, for the fun of everyone getting to see a new pyramid. It's kind of like a birthday. When a new piece of glass is finished for me, it feels like a birthday. Hello, my name is Trish, and this is Rosie. When I was growing up, I was always very self-conscious of my hands. I had my cousin Lucy. She had these beautiful, beautiful, long, tapered, perfect fingers. In fact, I think at some point in her life she was like a hand model. And I never had any of that. I have these kind of short, stubby little fingers and little hands. You're looking toward Baxter State Park, which I think is kind of to the northeast. You know, if the weather's right, you can see Katahdin. And this is about as close as any place I've ever been in Maine to live and sort of have a really large vista like that reminds me of the Southwest and the views out there. I've always kind of missed it. I've set up a template so that all the four sides are equal. And even though I think they're equal, sometimes they're not perfect. I don't know why. I'm just not very spatially oriented. His complete name is Kevin Andrew Madison. And Kevin is my son. He was born in 1984. He was a person who lived with epilepsy. When he was young, he didn't have seizures, but he developed them at 10 years old. He was riding his bike and he was right here. And a guy in a truck who had been drinking and actually had just been released from prison the day before, came up over the rise and bumped him. You know, didn't see him and just hit him, and Kevin landed right about there. And that's where the ambulance came for him, and he had an MRI and didn't seem to have any brain damage at all that was visible on the test results. There he is. I love this. It's the only just few seconds I have of him, but it's so perfectly Kevin. Okay, here comes Jimmy. Yeah, and then, okay, here comes Kev. Basket! A race car that Kevin built. Looks like the tie-dye and all those things Kevin loved. I can't remember absolutely, but I think Kevin may have come in fourth and been a bit disappointed, but that was in Italy. I like this picture because he has this sort of devilish kind of grin on his face, like, what am I going to do with all this money? And Alfred, was really a good entertainer and loved Kevin when he was little. Although, when Kev was 1 year old, Alfred came to me and he said, "Mama, I figured out what we can do with that baby." I said, "What is it we could do with that baby, Alfred?" He said, "Well, we could just put him in a box and mail him to China." Whew, I did not wear the right shoes today. This was what the boys this was their playground. I mean, they just loved running up and down and climbing these rocks and looking into all the little tidal pools for all the little animals. How did it come to pass that my child became the ashes we scattered at Pemaquid Point? He started with grand mal seizures and then tiny little absence seizures and tonic-clonic seizures and all kinds of seizures, and we were never able to control it. There were so many seizures we ended up having surgery, which was not successful the first time. And so there was a year when he was extremely ill. And then we went to Montreal and had a second surgery, and it was successful. And it made just an incredible change in our life. Kevin became himself again, and he grew over a foot in a year. It was like unbelievable. He just sprouted up and was healthy again and happy. And later, after he passed away, one of his teachers told me that they thought possibly he had had a seizure, but they weren't sure. Kevin didn't want to have seizures. He wanted to just be healthy, and he just wanted to be like everyone else. And that's part of the problem with epilepsy, is that it sort of lurks in the background. You know, you can go for a time without a seizure. You're always counting the days between seizures and trying to build up to kind of, for Kev, the magic number was 2 years, because then he could get a driver's license, and he wanted to date. You know, he just thought that would be so great to be able to drive a car. But in reality, I think that, you know, that he didn't tell me because he wanted to be normal. So, you know, normal's not the right word. You'll just have to forgive my language at this point. We're just heading down the back roads of Maine, I should say, on the way to my friend the Letney's house. They've been my dearest friends for 25 years, and they've been my second family. They just always, you know, were the ones that came to help.
Is everyone having coffee?
Rosie.
That is good. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You know, I mean, that was 36 years ago.
It would be like a romantic shot of us laughing together.
Oh, don't grab my ass. Did you? Come on, Trish, will you? Honest to God.
Come on. Oh boy, Jim.
All right?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Oh gosh, I just remember that day. I haven't been down here since.
I know.
Remember, it was the hottest day of the year. I was here the day before when Michael and Kevin had the sailboat out. There was just enough breeze that they were zipping on a sunfish wicked fast, you know. And that's, I think, why he wanted to come back the next day.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
He had so much fun, and I was there that day too.
So much fun.
We were all out here swimming like
we always did.
Like we always did. I love you, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
I turned around and ran into the water. I didn't even think anything. I remember diving in the water. I remember you running right behind me. You weren't even half a step behind me.
No.
And we had to go out to the float.
And I was bound. I was doing my life skills. I was telling all the kids to double up, buddy up, and swim in.
One of the most remarkable experiences or memories I have of Kevin was on a horribly cold November night before he had his second surgery. And he was so sick, and he was having seizures, you know, sometimes every 4 minutes. It would go for hours on end. He'd have them every 4 minutes, and just they wouldn't stop, you know. We'd end up usually going to the emergency room at that point, but that particular night, I was sitting with Kevin on the couch, and he was just exhausted and so sick. And he said, "Oh, Mama," he said, "I just want it to be a beautiful summer. And I'm at the pond and I'm swimming with all my friends." I think he knew, you know, I think he always knew this is where it was going to end. I don't know why, but I think, you know. We hadn't been able to swim when he was sick, but he didn't seem to be sick anymore. And so he swam out and he drowned that day. It was clear he wasn't there anymore, and there was nothing I could do to put him back in. And that was my own death. That was the death of my ego, because that was the end of the road for me. And so that was my rebirth. How the death of a child could be your rebirth is just sort of inconceivable. And it brings into question the purpose of your life here on earth. And why people come to this life. When Kev passed away, I don't even remember those days very well, other than just this shrinking from everything and just trying to disappear. Then a couple of months after Kevy was gone, I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning saying, oh my God, I have to do stained glass. It wasn't kind of like, maybe I'll go do stained glass. It was like, on this very day, I will learn to do stained glass. I believe that Kevin came to me in my sleep that night and put that in my mind as a way for me to heal, because I was not sure that I was going to go forward. If I wasn't doing stained glass, I was crying, you know, and when I was doing stained glass, I wasn't crying. I felt really pretty good, you know, which was like so amazing, because most of the time I was so miserable. The best thing about stained glass, it's just like being a little kid again, you know? I mean, do you remember how fun it was when you were little and you learned how to use scissors? It was like, wow, can you stay on the line? I loved that when I was little. And stained glass kind of combines lots of things that I enjoy. I had an opportunity to go to the American University in Cairo for my master's degree. I would go out to the pyramids at Giza, and I would ride horses for relaxation and enjoyment. When you go out into the desert, you know, the desert is kind of rolling dunes, you know, and they're really low spots. And so as you're riding your horse, all of a sudden you might realize that you're completely surrounded by sand and you have no idea where you are, which at first time it happens is kind of terrifying, until that you realize all you have to do is ride your horse up to the top of the hill and the top of the sand dune, and then you just look out and there are the pyramids. You know, you can see them for hundreds of miles. They're huge. They're so huge, it's just inconceivable how big they are. I didn't want to really think about Kevin in this last pyramid as a person that had to struggle through his life with epilepsy. I wanted to think of him as, you know, this free spirit.
How was your school year been so far, Audrey? Very smooth. Yeah? Now, do you have freshmen?
I don't know. Oh, that's what I forgot about those. Here it is, Dad. And that's a long reach. There. And it's on. It's called Joyful Remembrance.
What's the name of that one?
Joyful Remembrance. Thinking about all the happy time with Kevin.
Beautiful. All of them are. What do you make total?
21.
28,
21.
21?
Yeah, this is the last
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yep. I think I got your ears too.
Hmm?
I think I got your ears too. Took me 8 years to do 20 of them. And what this is all about was I donated them to Epilepsy Foundation. I lost my son, had epilepsy. And so they're using them for fundraising and raising awareness around epilepsy and that kind of thing. So I don't know that I've ever told you that you've been my sort of a little bit of a role model here the last couple of years.
Why?
No, I just have enjoyed your travels. And it's kind of been inspirational because I've kind of come to the conclusion, you know, it's time to do some stuff. Who's that? Miller Man! You know Miller Man, let's go get him. Did you bring this weather with you from the coast?
Don't let Johnny Winslow see me. He'll be pissed. Yeah, baby!
That going right
tie-dyed shirt running down the hill, trying not to be observed, was Kevin with his hands in the air running. And I'm like running after him going, do you think I didn't see you? I'm not
But why did I think he was in the closet?
Probably because that wasn't the first time he came over. He came over a lot. I remember the first day I met him, it was geography class, and I went in class, and there he was in the back. Big old smile on his face. The biggest smile. Yep. And that's where it all started.
You were the new kid. He
Yep,
befriended you.
exactly.
You didn't have any friends, so.
Yep.
That would
He
be
was
Kevin.
my very first friend. You've
Beautiful.
never seen
I've never
it?
seen it.
It's her
What if
first
I were
tattoo.
like this? Would anybody see it? Is it on your
It's on my left
that
hip.
side? Oh, okay, wait a minute.
She's flashing.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Of course. I just have to laugh because these two ladies just came out and they were like, what is going on over in that corner?
So, do you want to demonstrate?
All right. We used to do this thing with Kevin and my whole family. We called it the claw. The older kids, they used to like attack the younger kids. And we used to do this thing we call it the claw. We would engulf their face and we go like this. The claw. And we'd like bury them like this. And we'd go like this. That was it.
Wow. I used to be more
Did you get it?
flexible.
I know
Younger then.
that was pretty intense, but.
That was really good. Hey, I just wanted to catch up with you and let you know that it's really looking like it's going to be happening, that I'm going to come to New Mexico this winter. And Jen, I'm so excited. I can hardly believe it. I'm looking forward to it so much, you know. I'll catch you up on all the details so far as I have them, but give me a buzz anytime, okay? My big hope when I'm down is that maybe the Gigi's will come out from California and I'll get to say hello. Hey, Jenny, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Lift it up slightly and walk towards me slightly. There you go. And then as you're coming down, it should slide right out.
Yeah?
And then just come out this way. Quick. Before it comes down on top.
So many friends came, and my best friends just made it all easy for me. They did every iota of the work. Especially James. So now we're trying to get the tents down before they get blown away. So how do you do it, Jimmy?
Come full circle now that my son is actually working with Trish.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a completion of the life circle going around, you know?
And, you know, like Tricia says, she thinks of Jimmy as a son.
How far can you throw it?
I don't want to hit your car.
Well, we sat at this table
That's-
13 years ago, and she's talking about wanting to give $1 million to epilepsy. And I'm like, oh, what a nice idea. And I'm thinking she's still in La La Land. You know, I mean, this isn't going to happen. You know, how are you going to raise $1 million? You barely got 2 nickels to rub together now. And no, I can see it. I can see I could create something that would be of enough value that people would want it and support epilepsy with that. I don't have money to give, but I could give my art to be sold.
To my absolute delight, Bob and Terry were kind and generous enough to offer the first $50,000 toward reaching the $1 million goal for the pyramid collection. The day that Kevin passed away, I did CPR, the breathing part. We did it probably for about 45 minutes because we were in such an isolated spot. I don't know, what would you do if you had your dead child in your arms and you were trying to bring them back and they weren't coming? But the thing of it was, I felt as if a warm blanket had been wrapped around me, and instead of having all that, I had this sense of absolute peace And that is the moment that grace descended into my life. Jimmy's going to come pick it up, and then he's going to deliver it to a friend of mine that's going to be driving down the coast. Put it in the car?
Yep.
All right. Ooh, it's heavy. Got it?
Got it.
All right. Grace. Let me get the door for you.
If you wouldn't mind getting the door. All right. Good directions.
Alrighty,
Should be
thank
good.
you. Thanks, Jim. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. I'll let you know if anything happens on the road, but we should be good.
All right, drive safe.
Will do.
I lived in Naples for a couple of years. It was just a wonderful time in my life. And I used to ride the train up to Rome, and I would go to the Vatican. So you could go right up to the Pietà. And this is the one, his Pietà of Mary when she was young, holding Christ as he's taken off the cross. And as I would look at it, I would think, gosh, you know, Michelangelo just got it all wrong. It's not right. You know, nobody would look that relaxed and calm and at peace if they were holding their dead child in their arm. And that just mystified me for years, and I never could figure it out. And then I found myself in the same situation of holding a dead child. And all of a sudden, after all those years, that cleared up for me, and I realized that he got it exactly right. Whenever I face something daunting or difficult, I think about Kevin, you know, laughing on his way into the operating room, waving goodbye to me with Kiki and say, "I'll see you soon, Mom." If we could all face our challenges with that attitude. The only thing I know for certain at the end of this road is that I am. My purpose here is to observe and to be grateful for every day, for every person that comes into my life, and to be happy. Life is about being happy. Kev was the best example of happiness I ever knew.